A nightmare. There is no other word to describe what happened to Real Madrid inside the fiery Metropolitano, the fortress of their neighbors Atletico. The 5-2 scoreline was not just a defeat, it was humiliation, a thunderous fall from grace for Xabi Alonso's men who had been flying so high. On this derby night of fire and fury, one man turned the stage into his own theater, tormenting the Madrid backline and writing a tale of sweet revenge. His name, Julián Álvarez. The Argentine striker delivered a performance for the ages. His decisive brace not only buried Real Madrid in their heaviest derby defeat since 1950, but also tore the mask off weaknesses that their unbeaten run had cleverly concealed. The turning point came when Nico Gonzalez went tumbling inside the penalty area after a reckless high boot from Arda Güler. The stadium held its breath as the referee pointed to the spot. And stepping forward was none other than Álvarez. That moment was not just about the scoreboard. It was a duel with his own haunted past. Only a few months ago, back in March, in this very stadium, in another frantic Champions League derby, Álvarez had become the villain. His infamous slip on a retaken penalty saw his goal annulled, sending Atletico crashing out in bitterness. That ghost still lingered, carved deep in the memory of every Rojiblanco fan, and perhaps deeper still in Álvarez himself. But this time, there was no hesitation. After nearly a minute of tense VAR checks, he faced Thibaut Courtois, one of the greatest goalkeepers on the planet. And with nerves of steel, Álvarez rifled a thunderous strike into the bottom left corner. Courtois guessed right, but the sheer venom of the shot left him helpless. 3-2 Atletico. It was more than a goal. It was catharsis, redemption, a personal exorcism. But the show was far from over. From over 20 meters out, Álvarez stepped up again, this time with a free kick for the ages. The ball bent like a whip, curling over Real's wall and crashing into the top corner as Courtois stretched in vain. A masterpiece, a declaration, a roar of authority that announced to the world, Álvarez is not merely a striker. He is one of the most complete, devastating forwards on the planet. Only days earlier, he had hit a hat trick against Rayo Vallecano. Now, under the blinding lights of the derby, he had transformed past pain into fuel, pressure into glory, turning Madrid's fortress into rubble. Before this clash, Alonso's Real Madrid had conceded just 3 goals in their opening 7 league games. They looked almost unbreakable. But statistics can lie, and Diego Simeone, the old war general, knew where to strike. Set pieces, the chink in Madrid's armor. And he exploited it with merciless precision. Both of Atletico's first half goals came from such moments. The opener in the 14th minute was textbook Simeone. A free kick launched, Real's defense hesitating, the clearance weak. The ball fell to Giuliano Simeone, unmarked, who whipped in a perfect cross. Robin Lenormand rose above Aurélien Tchouaméni, frozen like a statue, and thundered a header past Courtois. The second goal, just before halftime, exposed Madrid's systematic disorganization. From what looked like a harmless throw-in, Koke was given far too much time to pick his pass. José Giménez dragged defenders out of position, and Alexander Sørloth, left unchecked, soared to crash home another unstoppable header. And even the penalty that led to Álvarez's first goal stemmed from another set-piece scenario, as Arda Güler misread his position and clumsily challenged. Throughout the night, Madrid looked lost every time Atletico sent a cross into the box. The pressing system, the possession-based aggression that had worked so well against weaker sides, collapsed under derby pressure. Once forced back into traditional defending around their own 18-yard line, Madrid's technical center-backs like Antonio Rudiger and left-back Fran Garcia looked hesitant, passive, and vulnerable. They failed to attack the ball, failed to impose themselves, and Atletico punished them ruthlessly. This was a brutal reminder for Alonso and his staff. A modern system is nothing without the bedrock of defensive fundamentals. Amid the collective disaster, there were still flashes of brilliance for Real Madrid. Kylian Mbappé, invisible for the first 25 minutes under Atletico's suffocating press, needed only a single lapse to punish the hosts. Receiving the ball from Güler, he spun past his marker, darted into space, and latched onto a perfectly threaded pass. From a tight angle, with ice in his veins, Mbappe unleashed a precise strike into the far corner, leaving Jan Oblak stranded. That goal brought his tally to 10 goals in just 8 matches, vindicating Alonso's decision to trust him as the team's number 9. And then there was Arda Güler. The young Turkish talent delivered a bittersweet performance, both brilliant and costly. He created Mbappe's goal with a dazzling piece of skill, and later found the net himself with a smart finish after Vinicius Jr.'s clever assist, briefly giving Madrid hope at 2-1. Yet it was also his inexperience that led to the fateful penalty, an unforgiving lesson on the biggest stage. For him, for Rudiger, for Garcia, it was baptism by fire, a derby that demands not just talent, but composure and maturity. Elsewhere, Joe Bellingham, starting for the first time since his injury, looked far from his best. His touches lacked sharpness, his rhythm clearly absent. Atletico's relentless intensity swallowed him whole, and it was obvious he needed more time to recover his full form. And then there was Thibaut Courtois. Few fixtures in world football carry such personal venom as his return to the Metropolitano. Once a hero in red and white during his loan spell from 2011 to 2014, he became a traitor in their eyes the moment he joined Real Madrid in 2018. Every touch of the ball brought a storm of whistles, jeers, and abuse raining down from the stands. The hatred runs so deep that Courtois' commemorative plaque on Atletico's Walk of Legends, awarded to players with over 100 appearances, has been vandalized repeatedly. Before this match, videos surfaced of fans spitting on it, throwing trash at it. Reports even suggest Atletico's board are considering rewriting the rules to strip his name from their history altogether. That toxic hostility, combined with the suffocating atmosphere, created an unbearable weight. Courtois was not directly at fault for any of the 5 goals and even made several excellent saves. Yet this was never going to be his night, or Madrid's night. The psychological burden was simply too heavy, dragging the whole team's intensity and focus into the abyss. This derby was the first true exam for Alonso's new Real Madrid project, and the result was a comprehensive failure. Physically, mentally, tactically, they were nowhere near the level needed to match a ferocious Atletico side fueled by Simeone's fire. The sleek, modern tactical concepts Alonso brought crumbled when his players lost their duels, when their resolve cracked under pressure. It was a shock, a humiliation, a brutal wake-up call, not just for Alonso, but for President Florentino Perez and the entire institution. And yet, perhaps, it is not a fatal blow. The season is still long, and this defeat might prove to be a lesson more than a catastrophe. Barcelona are now given the chance to seize the lead, but more importantly, Atletico Madrid have loudly declared that they cannot be ignored in the title race. For Alonso, this was his first taste of the cruel reality of a Madrid derby from the dugout. The board will demand a fierce reaction, the fans will demand answers, and now the real pressure begins to crush down on the young Spanish coach. After the nightmare at the Metropolitano, the La Liga race has become hotter, more chaotic, and more unpredictable than ever.